Hey everyone, I'm Sophia with Awaken Catholic, and this is Awaken the Saint. Power, fame, riches. These seemingly unattainable things don't come naturally to everyone. What would you do if you had one or a combo of these characteristics, or were given to them from birth? Would you be able to give them away in a heartbeat? Today's saint did just that, with all of her heart. Princess Elizabeth was only 13 years old when she was married to Prince Ludwig of Thuringia in 1221. Unlike other political marriages, Ludwig and Elizabeth grew fond of each other, with the prince growing into the man worthy of his wife. They bore 3 children and were devoted to the other as a good husband and wife should be. During one of her husband's travels, Elizabeth constructed a hospital at the foot of the mountain where their castle was located. She personally saw to aiding those who were brought to the hospital, caring for their needs, and giving them proper company during their recovery and stay. This began to sow bitterness among members of the court. After all, a princess's place wasn't among the infirm or poor, but she knew she desired to serve God over those of the court. Ludwig wouldn't come to be canonized like his wife, but he was commonly referred to throughout Germany as Ludwig the Saint. He stood up for his wife when members of the court sought to belittle the princess for her charitable deeds. He strongly encouraged her to live out her Christian faith in the royal court, and quickly came to prove himself as a capable and noble leader. Elizabeth was sneaking out one day to deliver food to the poor and sick outside the castle when her husband stopped her. Since she was acting suspicious, he told her to reveal what she was hiding, and instead of loaves of bread tumbling out from her dress, rose petals fell to the ground. Not all joy can last. Prince Ludwig was killed on his way to march in the Crusades, and after losing her son years later, Elizabeth was left with no ties to the throne. Following her time of grief, the Princess Elizabeth sold everything she still had to the poor. She immediately began working closely with a newly established Franciscan order and took her vows soon after. Eventually, her strength became consumed by her labor and unending acts of charity as she continued to serve those who were considered outcasts and unclean. She died at the young age of 24 in 1231 and was canonized soon after in 1235. They always say that you should tithe to the church 10% of what you have. It's a lot, but isn't crippling. Elizabeth seemed to add an extra 0 at the end of that percentage. She could have easily been consumed by the power and riches like many other royalty of her time, but instead, she chose to give it all away freely for the sake of others. Even if your finances aren't comparable to a royal treasury, I encourage you to still give not just your treasure, but also your time and talent to those around you. God will reward you tenfold. Let us look to St. Elizabeth as a beautiful example of surrendering the riches of this world for the riches of heaven. St. Elizabeth of Hungary, pray for us.
Thank you for tuning in to Awaken the Saint. Awaken the Saint is a 3-minute daily show that unpacks the lives of the saints with practical messages for everyday life.